Right. And we will also discuss under item E, the tax book, which has been developed by our assistant treasurer to make it easier for our town clerk to quickly reference tax questions. And we will also vote to accept the amendment last meeting. We have
All right, you
tables
cut out there.
for the agenda of July 20th, reviewing the Westminster. And anything else at this time? We'll just.
Good job.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
losing audio here from time to time. After coda and coda, could you go back over tax book and then what?
We will vote after the tax book, which has been developed by the assistant treasurer to make it easier for the town clerk to quickly answer questions about taxes. We will also vote to accept the amended purchase policy, which was approved at the last select board meeting. And we're adding to the agenda for July 20th, the Westminster Hazard Mitigation Plan. Okay. All right, let's quickly go on to reviewing and approving the minutes from the June 15th meeting, and then we'll speak with Julia. Anybody have any changes to the draft minutes on page 1? Anybody have any changes to the draft minutes on page 2? Anybody have any changes to the draft minutes on page 3?
Yes.
All right, page 3, what questions would you
I
have?
think it's under RFP. It's not the yes. It says Mr. Noga asked about plans for the daycare center, noting about $150,000 received.
$153,000, yes.
For what?
But in rent.
Rent since the original
Inception
lease
of the
was
lease.
incepted.
Oh, for 3 years, you mean, the last couple of years, you mean?
Since we've owned the building.
Since we've owned the building and leased it.
Oh, all the way back to 2014?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Scratch that.
Okay.
I didn't understand what that was about.
Okay.
And then there's something else, and then Mr. Mello discussed tax relief. I don't know what that's about.
Where do you
I think that's not just a little further.
discuss tax relief, economic conditions, and the system was running? Not tax.
Tax relief.
What, page 3?
Same thing,
Next
next
sentence.
sentence, 2
Next
sentences
sentence.
below. There was discussion, Mr. Mello's discussed tax relief, economic conditions that the system was running but past the expected service life of the equipment.
Tax relief had nothing to do with it.
Rent relief,
Oh.
change the word tax relief to rent relief. We did give a rent
Rent
relief,
Oh, and
So
the-
motive B.
Okay,
okay?
Got it.
All right, any changes to page 4?
Yes.
Page 4 changes, Mr. Noda.
Yes, the word that needs to be changed, Peter, is handler for the first line under conversations with residents interested in becoming more involved with Brookline. That individual's last name is Chandler, Chandler.
Okay,
And then the next very paragraph, there's a name, Towler, that occurs twice in the second paragraph, line 1, and then the second paragraph next to last line, and that name Towler needs to be changed to Schoner, Schoener.
I saw that also.
And then line 2 of that same paragraph, we're meeting about Mount Snow condo, it's meeting at Mount Snow condo, AT.
Page 6, any changes to page 6?
Are we on 5? Page
That
5?
was
Page
that-
4.
page 4, no.
Is it?
That was page 5. I can remember 1, 2, 3. 4. Page 5 had Dan's
Okay,
name on it.
okay,
Page-
4, then I misnumbered my pages here.
Page 6,
Yes. Page 6, second topic, second paragraph, first line, the words Ms. Noga should be Mr. Noga. Had listed, the words had listed, and replacing it with the word found. Mr. Noga found.
And found 11,
Found 11 cemeteries,
okay?
all right,
And that's
thank
it.
you. Any changes to page 7? Hearing none. I make a motion to accept the minutes from the Wednesday, June 15th meeting as amended. May I have a second?
second,
Seconded by Mr. Noga. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as amended for Wednesday, June 15th, signify by saying aye.
aye.
It was passed unanimously. Thank you very much, Peter, for your minutes. Oh, I got squeaky shoes on.
Mhm.
All right, at this point, we're members of the public. We'd like to welcome one of our newer residents, Julia Duke. And I understand your husband had some previous we welcome you to introduce yourself. I think Bruce wanted to hear a little bit more about she'd like to be appointed to the Brookline Meeting House Committee.
The idea was to have both of them come in here.
I can't hear you because it's
So
camera.
the idea was to have both of them come in here in the meeting room to meet us. And, that
But
was
people don't have to come in. They can attend by Zoom, by law.
requiring.
I know.
But you
It's
did
not
bring
gonna
that
work.
up last meeting,
It's
you
not gonna
cannot
work.
require it. It works for me in terms of if she presents something about herself.
So
It's
Julia,
adequate, appropriate.
so I know you met with Leanne and she was very excited to accept you into the one of the committee work that the Brookline Meeting House is doing. I'm also a member of that. I just wanted to, if you could share with so we get it on record, a little bit about yourself and your husband and what interests that you might have here in town.
Great. Hi, everyone. My husband, Stuart, with a U, could not attend this evening. He's at another meeting. We moved to Brookline about a year and a half ago, all the way up from Brattleboro. And we're very happy to be here. We've both lived in Vermont for over 20 years. I met, my first visit to the Brooklyn Meeting House was a year ago for the open house. And then I met Leanne at the plant sale back in May. And that's when we started talking about, help that's needed and my interest.
Oh, we're having a little audio problem.
Let's
I love technology.
Mhm.
One second. One second, Julia. We're having some audio issues.
Wi-Fi connections.
One second.
Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, this is the TV. It's just there's no Ethernet cable on the laptop,
Yeah,
so it has to use Wi-Fi,
Right.
which is why it's
Why we have
running like
problems.
crap. So
well, it's not even apparently recognizing it.
I'm trying to get it on the TV right
Ah,
here,
okay.
but that has nothing to do with the connection.
Okay.
Right.
All right, Julie, I'm sorry, we lost some of the audio a few seconds ago while you were speaking. We understand that you moved up from Brattleboro and you first came to the Brookline Meeting House last year during an open house and then came again during the plant sale and spoke more at length with Leanne. And so we're glad. I think your husband's involved with the Weston Playhouse, correct?
No.
He no longer is. He was managing director there for a number of years. He currently works as a freelance lighting designer. He's semi-retired. But he has a lot of experience with management and historical buildings and that kind of thing.
So does anybody have any specific questions that you would like? I mean, I have later on, the idea to, appoint members to the meeting house. Bruce, I'm not sure what your what I can, what you would like.
I know what I would like, but I didn't get it, but whatever. Julia, I guess my main question is, you've been there once or twice to the meeting house, to the church, which is now a meeting house. What did you think that you wanted to bring to the committee? What were the ideas of, or just trying to feel it out, or where's your head at?
I'm a hands-on kind of person, so if there's work needed, painting, landscaping, cleaning,
Hold it, we can't hear you.
yep, let me know. Can you hear me now?
Did you call in my group last night? What you did?
Yeah, we were having some audio problems again. All I heard was cleaning. I'm like, oh.
Come on over.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. So I'm a hands-on kind of person. I can help with painting, with cleaning, with landscaping. I'm familiar with organizing events, running events. If the meeting house was at some point able to, house events, arts events or community events or whatever, I'd be happy to help with that. I'm very interested in historical buildings. So that's where I can help out.
Right, excellent. I know I spent an hour and a half this morning on a conference Zoom call with the Athens Meeting House and the Brookline Meeting House Committee, because we're planning on doing a Welcome Center fundraiser. We'll probably see if you have any time to help us prepare for that. That would be in August again. But of course, the appointments are an annual thing. We would, I think, unless anybody has any other questions, I think it would be delightful to add Julia to the committee to work with the Brookline Meeting House Committee going forward. Is there anybody else that would wish to speak?
Julia, I know you're here tonight. Is your husband also interested in joining the group, the meeting house group?
He is, and I think that he would, I think he would be very beneficial as far as his experience with historical buildings, disability regulations, and that kind of thing. So he is also interested. He couldn't be here tonight, but he'd be happy to attend a different meeting if that's.
Well, based on your association with the Weston Playhouse, I would assume that there probably were many more varied projects than what the meeting house here in Brookline would need. So I have a degree of confidence and am of the opinion that you would dovetail very nicely and probably add a nice, healthy viewpoint of the potential for the building and aid in all the various aspects of conducting them. So from that having been said, I would certainly welcome you to that committee. Is it an annual that happens after town meeting, or?
The appointments are an annual, after town meeting, we do an appointment, so obviously it's after March right now, but I think right now I would like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Stuart and Julia Duke to the Brookline. I have them. I have them.
I'm in favor of it.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Julia and Stuart Duke to the Brookline Meeting House for the remainder of this year. I would like to have a second on that.
Second,
seconded by Stan Noga. Any further discussion? I know we would have liked to, but as Stan said, and I have met Stuart at the meeting house in the previous season, that we do look forward to community service from our residents, and I appreciate your stepping up. And we hope that it's a comfortable fit for you as it will be for us. So, and without further ado, all those in favor of appointing Julia and Stuart Duke to the Brookline Meeting House Committee signify by saying aye.
aye.
Any? Some of our great work that we have in outreach for our historic Brookline Meeting House. We're finishing up some summer construction projects. We're waiting upon the painters to come in and finish our steeple. And we will be doing some landscaping and that later on this summer. So certainly could use your help. Okay. Well,
Great.
thank you very much. And you're welcome to stay on throughout the meeting, but we also understand that you might have more interesting things to do than to sit
I have
with
a
us, but
spelling-
you're welcome to stay.
I have a
I will-
spelling question.
Yeah,
Yes, Peter, you have a question?
Which way do you spell Stewart?
with a U.
Thank you.
Thank-
EU?
STUA.
Oh, STU. Okay, got it. Thanks.
Thank you, Julia.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Good night.
Thank you.
Right.
All right, any other unscheduled members of the public? Nobody else, right? Okay, I understand your concern, but.
I'll take it.
All right, now we're gonna go to opening the bids. We have the RFP for the air-to-air heat pumps using the purchase policy of a major purchase procedure following formal advertised bid that occurred in the Brattleboro Reformer. And this is it.
Yes.
Oh, it says it right there, heat pump, okay. I checked the mail, there doesn't seem to be any other additional mail out there besides this one.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Okay, I have customer town of Brookline, Grassy Brook Road. I am providing this letter along with my estimate for the recent FR.
I'm listening, I said.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I'm providing this letter along with my estimate for the recent FR request for proposal for the air-to-air cold climate heat pumps for the former Brookline Elementary School. Opportunity to provide my estimate. If my engineering and design is accepted, I wanted to note that the equipment that has been taking around 4 weeks for shipping once ordered. I believe availability and or timing will not be a concern with the timeline you have for as long as a decision is made soon after the select board meeting. I usually ask for a 50% deposit before
I've lost you. I don't have a picture here.
Recording stopped.
$24,000
Recording in progress.
units for the blue room and the
No,
outdoor unit.
I've been completely cut out for the last minute or two.
All right, I'm just reading a bid that you don't have to have the details on it, but I haven't gotten to the cost yet.
Okay.
There's no price on it though.
What? That bottom, maybe?
Estimate valid for 30 days. Thank you for the opportunity. There is no cost. There's no dollar amount.
Come on, really? I believe you, but
Wow. Is that the only bid?
did it stay in the envelope?
So it identifies the size of the units, the number of units, and the placements of the units, both indoor and outdoor. But it doesn't have a price. So at this time, we're gonna have to table this bid and,
It doesn't look like it, does it?
no,
Okay. I'm just looking for it. I'm sure it's not
because I was reading the word for word.
That he didn't do it by the room, he didn't do it, he only did what he was putting in there. Estimate value for 30 days. Price inclusive, okay,
There's no cost.
here it is. Right here.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Includes startup and the commissioning of the system. I'm sorry, I looked at this.
It's okay.
Total cost for a completed install, $34,450 to $45,000. Wait.
No.
Okay, $34,450 minus an Efficiency Vermont grant of $4,500. So the total cost would be less the rebate, $29,500. Payment terms of 50% deposit and 50% at time of completion. Green Mountain Power can change the rebate process at any time. Heat pumps are designed for supplemental heat, not to take the place of a primary heat source. Estimate value for 30 days. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an estimate. I apologize
That's all right.
for seeing that.
Like,
Okay, all right, so we have I'll pass this around, you got to see it, you want to see it. Just to reiterate, the installation shall be completed by October 15th.
He's expecting to do well. So folks can.
Any idea what the installation of
Okay,
the
into that.
2-pole 20-amp circuits
Yep,
to the
I'll help
outdoor
you with
units is going to be?
Yep, I do.
Okay, I know nothing about these. I'm totally dependent on the expertise of
I'll explain to you, I'll explain to
You
you.
have to speak up because again, I'm using the microphone on the laptop.
I'll explain to you.
Go ahead.
Okay, obviously, we only have one RFP. Initially, this process started over 2 months ago. The first estimate I had came from Luke. Don't go into it?
No.
Okay, I had 2 other estimates were way considerably higher than this.
Yeah.
So if you want to have questions about that, we have to answer them. And they were both notified that there would be an RFP over and above the ad. They both knew it. This is the only one we got.
So you're saying this company and another initially came and looked it over and gave, so you
I'm
had
saying 3.
3, and 2 out of the 3 did not apply for the RFP. Okay.
Right. One did, I tried 3 times in 3 weeks after he'd given me a quote, just wouldn't call me back. The second one was a local solar company, which I won't mention the name, that was cost prohibitive. And it appeared as, and I got into it with them, and basically what happened was he couldn't put Mitsubishi 24,000 units into the school for whatever reason, they're not allowed to, whatever. So he's putting 2 units in each room, costing basically $16,000 a month. That wasn't working. So anyway, that's about that. Then I met with Tim Hart once. He came and looked at the building after several conversations on the phone. I've also met with Larson Electric twice. The second one was yesterday, and he keeps confirming it. And we actually went around the install thoroughly. But it looks like about $1,000 a room to install, $1,000 a unit to install it. So we're looking right around 6,000 plus or minus. And Stan, to be really specific, how this works is if this is approved,
You're frozen. There's a freeze up going on. I'm unable to hear.
panels or one panel to hook up the 12 to electric.
Sorry, there's an intermittent audio here. I didn't hear anything for the past minute. Oh, frozen again.
Recording stopped.
Yeah, hold on a sec.
Yeah, if you're asking questions that you.
Hey, Peter, can you hear me?
I'll repeat
Yeah,
it.
now,
I'm on my little Chromebook here. They're switching out laptops because the Wi-Fi has been terrible and the town computer didn't have an Ethernet port. But Stan has a laptop that he brought with an Ethernet port, so Josh is hooking that up. I apologize. So we'll just hang out for a few minutes.
Well, where's
alrighty.
finance?
That is this guy's laptop.
It doesn't have an Ethernet port.
Doesn't have an Ethernet port. We spent $1,800 on a laptop. That's not an Ethernet port.
I'm trying to remember if my laptop, which I paid $600 for 8 or 9 years ago, has an Ethernet port on it. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think it's sometimes it has, sometimes it
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you have to be cognizant of being on the internet. I would imagine it's like.
Does he plug it in direct to his modem?
No, he would have to have a big wire running.
But when he's at his
It's
desk.
on the left side toward the back.
This thing?
Yep. I think you just try to plug it in and then it'll be a.
Fact TV, I hope you can edit some of this out.
There we go.
Look at us, everybody's got their own little technology, but nobody has A, B, and C put together.
Well, if we-
That was me on vacation last week.
Oh, you look fantastic.
Yeah.
No comment, no comment.
Is that Italian?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's.
yeah, that was the backyard, that's the spa.
Looking out the back window. Does it have a password?
1951.
So we're just gonna set up the other computer.
Do you have Zoom on here?
Yes.
So the Wi-Fi doesn't work too good, and we really need a laptop that has Zoom and Ethernet.
I don't believe I set this meeting up on it or acknowledged it, so if you need anything from the agenda in terms of numbers or addresses, whatever, I can
Yeah.
rock this over to you.
Okay. I will need to sign into the Zoom. Do you know what the?
Grant, $5,000 bill
Zoom account?
put on it.
No.
Okay.
If
And
it's
was that was given to
oh,
us,
this has
or
to
he
be
wanted
on
to-
He orders
energy
stuff.
computer?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
That's what you were talking about before.
All right, you want to try mine? Here, hold on.
What's what's the email for the town account? Is it your email address, Scott?
Do I have an Ethernet connection anywhere on here that you see?
Not on this side. Nope.
Shoot. We're gonna have to use my laptop, I guess, then. I don't know what to tell you.
Do you not know the password for the Zoom account?
I didn't bring you,
Password for the Zoom
I
account?
use it so infrequently. I forgot that you.
2 years.
Passcode?
No, it's the,
I'm sorry.
I don't know the password either. It's some,
Is it on?
no, it's not that. It's the actual Guy Tanza number.
Oh, I see.
Secret, top secret stuff.
Okay.
Just can't open the meeting unless we have the town account.
That's right. Okay. No, I forgot about setting it up that way. No, I guess I, that's my hand.
All right, I'm gonna run the meeting from my little laptop here.
Good try.
Recording in progress.
All right.
Call it.
Well, Peter's down here, not Peter.
I got Peter on my Chromebook. We're gonna try the Wi-Fi from my laptop. We're having all sorts of issues. Bruce, can you, so right now we're just reviewing the RFP from Tim Hart for the area. He was one of what we thought were 3 vendors that were gonna submit. But,
Okay.
but
Where are you at with that discussion, Peter? Do you know?
start from the
Well,
top.
You had been through the costs and you were talking about 2 other vendors' estimates, and each had been notified about the RFP.
Okay. Okay. Let me see what I got notes.
Want me to try to plug the camera into
Just a
this?
minute, Peter. I'm trying to get my thought process straight.
Can we turn the TV off?
I was explaining to the board the additional costs that would be for the electric, where it appears to be at this point about $1,000 per room, which is about, well, actually $1,000 per unit, not room, which would be about roughly $6,000 to be determined. Mark Bills asked a question about whether this is going to take the place of the gas boilers, and it's not going to take the place of the gas boilers. What it's going to do is minimize the gas boilers just to the hallway upstairs, the hot water, and the air handlers. So, but also will make it so that hopefully it will extend the life of the gas boilers because we won't be using as much. And since I've already put an inhibitor in it several years ago, having a recheck in September to make sure that the pH is correct, hopefully the boilers will last on infinitum. But in the meantime, we're kind of changing consideration and using the air-to-air heat pumps as pretty much the primary heating and cooling system. Now, as far as the install, I was explaining to the board that I had several conversations with the electrician, and it's all been pretty much finalized, except for the fact that they're waiting for the RFP to go through, and we're just tightening up whether we're going to use 2 fuse panels or 1, and it all basically has to do with labor and materials, which is more cost effective to do it. So we've been around, the electrician and I, Stan, have been around the building twice. The second time was yesterday. And the second time was more specific because I knew the exact location that this guy wanted to put the outside units on the outside of the building. So he was able to see it. Now we just tied in a little tighter. He wants to know which side it's gonna go into, little details like that. And that's where Tim Hart would commiserate with Emmett Larson as to exactly, so that there's no mix-up as to, or misunderstanding when they come in to do the install, as there would be any misunderstanding as about how it's gonna be installed. Question?
I have a question. So basically what you're saying is, and I'll swing this back here, is that it will cost, this RFP is just for the heat pumps.
Correct.
And so with the consideration for the electric, it would probably be a total system of about $40,000.
Under that, I think.
With the hopes that we can get a Green Mountain Power Vermont Energy Efficiency rebate of $4,500 to take off of that. So basically it's almost 3,500 plus 6,000 minus 4, so $35,000. So and how would we pay for this?
Okay, my proposal is to use the ARPA money for just the heat pumps and use the budget money out of SLP for the install. At this point in time, we have about $5,800 in our account. We should have a hair under $8,000 by August 1st. We had a bill, I'll go into it, the building discussion about what happened last week. But basically, soup to nuts. Melissa's been so good, so accurate, and I emailed her last weekend during the holiday when she sent out the budget. And I wanted to make sure that this month's rent, which is now at $2,000 as opposed to $633 a month, was sent in, and it wasn't included in the totals that you gave me, and it was not included in the totals that you gave me. So basically, we're at about $5,800, even with the amount of money that was taken off of the for fixing the well pump last week. By August 1st, we should be just shy of $8,000. So I think it's reasonable to me, it's reasonable to believe, to expect that we would use at least the install part to pay for the heat pumps, and the big chunk come out of the upper line.
I have a question about the electric. The electric, does that have to be put in first or after, or in order for him to install the equipment, doesn't he need to have the electric?
Tim told me this. I forget who this was. I'm sorry.
When I had mine
No.
put in, they did the electric
Exit first. Yes, the quick disconnect is
They
going
wouldn't
first.
put the heat pumps in until electric was.
That's right. So what happens is all the quick disconnects are put in. There's 6 of them all around the building. And then Tim comes in and installs the heat pumps. That's why it's so important for the two of them to commiserate, to talk as to positioning. Tim actually sent me some very nice pictures, exactly where he wanted to place the outside units for the heat pumps. And we talked about where they were going to go on the inside of the building as well. But the only open question at this point is twofold: the exact positioning of where it hooks into the heat pump, and whether or not we're going to use 2 panels, the one electric panel as you walk in the entranceway, or the main 400 amp panel that's in the boiler room. That's going to be the crux of the whole thing, the main 400 amp panel. And we went down there and looked again yesterday, and it suffices. How the install works is right next to the bulkhead, he drills a hole through the concrete wall, a conduit goes through it, he runs the wires out through the wall, and it's all by code hooked up to PVC pipe around the building until it goes to a quick disconnect next to the outside unit. It's basically pretty cut and dry. I can almost do it myself, but I can't because I'm not a licensed electrician and it has to be up to code. I wouldn't do it either. But this is not really rocket science.
Stan?
Stan.
Yeah, you broke down the categories into install and then the equipment. I'm assuming the install is, you're only referring to the electrical. Work.
Yes.
The
Yes.
other work is for installation and the material, the units being
Yes,
installed for the 36,000 or
well, it should be.
$29.95 after the $45 discount. Okay, so did Mr. Larson indicate how his payment structure is to be broken out? Is it after the work, 50% upfront, or
No,
whatever?
No, we didn't get that far yet
Okay.
because I had no RFP, I had no, I couldn't really finalize the exactness of it because we don't have at that point, we didn't have a person to install the unit. So that's what needs to be tightened up next. And as far as the payment process, because maybe you can help me with that, because how did you pay him last time for the town office?
After the work was done.
After the work was done.
He billed after the work was done. My question is though, we don't have, well, first of all, the $4,500 is not a given, the rebate, because it can change according to Tim himself. So we have to go with his full bid of $34,450. Correct? When you think about it?
I gotta go by his wordage. Go ahead.
I can add to that. When they put mine in, the bill that I was provided by Arc Mechanical, they had already taken off the
Yeah,
discount from the state and billed me for the difference, and that's all I paid. I didn't pay the full amount and then wait for a discount
Right,
to
I
come
think
later.
that's for you.
I'm almost feeling that unless he says something else different in that letter, and certainly we should ask up front just to be doubly certain, I suspect that the discount will be rendered right off the bat,
Yes,
and we will only be billed by this gentleman for the difference of $29.90.
yes.
The reason why I asked it, because he has here GMP, Green Mountain Power, can change the rebate process at any time.
I
Well,
was
that's
thinking
between
it
now
was-
and then.
I think it was
It's unlikely.
efficiency Vermont. I guess it's not efficiency Vermont, it's Green Mountain Power, that's what it says there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Alls I know is when he talked to me about numbers, he came up with that 29 figure, including the rebate, and that was, how many weeks ago?
But I'm still on.
What's that, Peter?
Sorry, I had an interruption.
Okay, we're in discussion.
Any more questions?
My question is, should we table this? How quickly can we get an RFP? We're gonna have a special meeting for the tax rate in the next few days. How quickly can we get an electrical RFP ready to approve so that we can get it turned around and come back?
Well,
Well, no, we
the
won't be
only
able
way
to
I can
have
do
it.
that is approve the RFP, so that Tim can be in conjunction with him to give him, to commiserate with the install. This is a little queer, because usually like with the other two quotes that I got, it was installed.
It was with
Electric-
the electric,
with
it was
electric
total,
included.
in total.
So this is a little different. I think part of it has to do because he's coming from Castleton. But I know that. And he also gave me a reference of an electric company in Bennington, but I'm not gonna call anybody in Bennington when I got somebody right on the corner. I'm gonna pay transportation, you know.
I think it's a good price. I know that I do think it's a good price for the size of the building, and it will certainly save money on the carbon footprint and the over 7,000 gallons of propane that's used on a regular basis for running the monster boiler. And it will relieve a lot of the stress on the boiler. And my question is, the select board, are we comfortable with this being an appropriate use of the ARPA money for the town of Brookline? I think it is, but Stan?
I would imagine it is. I have no problem with the total after the rebate. As Bruce pointed out last meeting, it's a substitute for the existing system. I would add, even aside from another comment, another question is, would there be any benefit, since we're having electrical work done, acquiring a electric hot water heater so that the furnace does not have to run at all?
Oh, you're sneaking into something. I've been
So-
thinking about for quite a
So
while.
we'd be probably looking at, I guess, that, I assume there's already wiring for the hot water heater there.
Can I get in on this? a little
Uh,
bit?
Well,
Okay, go
that's one
I'm sorry.
concern, because when I converted, I had, like the school does, domestic hot water provided by the furnace. So when I made the switch, since I was dependent on a 20-some-odd-year-old forced hot water system, and we're now looking at a system that is 45 years or more old in the school, I felt that just letting my hot water furnace rest, sit there unused until such time as, for whatever reason, a heat pump failed and I needed to heat that area. And I completely eliminated the volatility of gas prices by not having it heat even for the domestic hot water. And as you may have read in the newspaper last week, Vermont is not increasing its rates like New Hampshire is because our sources of electricity are natural. Dams, hydro, that sort of thing. So there's no increase, which means it's a lot more stable. It's not doubling like New Hampshire's is. So we might want to consider for another $1,000 taking advantage, $2,000, taking advantage of that, because we'd probably save half that, if I suspect,
agree.
almost that in the course of a year. But the other concern I would want before I forget
I'm throwing it to bits over here, sorry.
is I guess I would suspect that Mr. Larson is on our approved vendor list.
Yes.
And I don't know if we need to get, because of the dollar amount, $6,000 or potentially $8,000 for a hot water heater, if he's gonna put that in too.
Okay.
Either soliciting another bid or two. And that would be the only reason that I would frankly feel that I would want to delay starting this going. Because as the year goes on, there's probably gonna, and we get closer to cold weather, I suspect the number of people who are willing to make the change, given the volatility of gas and oil, are probably gonna increase these vendors of heat pumps, their workload, and I fear having to go through another winter, as we just did with the school with the current heating system. So I would suggest, at least my personal opinion is, go forward with this.
Okay.
Ask if you felt that we're going to be treated right by Mr. Larson, we seem to have been with the other work that he did, have those two guys meet, have Mr. Larson reconfirm the installation and or with the additional hot water heater, have them get together at their convenience, and taking into account that his price is only valid for 30 days. So we've got to make a decision at one of the next 2 select board meetings, it seems to me, to just go with it. I mean, we've already committed to the idea of putting it out, which seems to imply that we're not just throwing a lucky card here. We've already made a decision that we need a backup system. In this case, a primary, because of the old age of the existing system and all the problems we continue to have with that old system, which would be a limit. I don't know if we've spent well over $11,000 this year. All right, so there you go. And it's supposedly working. So
and my blood.
Seems to me a no-brainer to just proceed with it and let the gentleman work it out. Reconfirm it's $1,000.
And go for
And
that.
that would be my suggestion.
Okay.
I do think we still need to put a official RFP in the paper
For
in
the
order to
electric?
meet our purchase
For the
policy.
electric? That's what you said to me the other day.
You need to do,
For-
if $7,500 is a major purchase, $1,000 to $7,499 is a regular purchase, which you need to get 2 or more
Okay.
paid.
But if he doesn't go past $7,400, it doesn't have to go for
We just need to have 2 or more possible comparisons.
All right,
We need another
we can
electrician.
work that, but I think we're getting into the weeds a little bit. And your suggestion's great, and I'm minimizing everything.
I'm
But
glad
you
Don's
understand
going over
me a
what she's
little
going
bit.
over, yeah.
That my thought process is a lot, but I could simplify it. And I have thought about the hot water heater, and that hot water heater there is pushing 20 years old.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Okay,
No brainer.
wait, please. Now, I've already entertained this idea. Now, like I said previously, the hot water heater, the air handlers, and the upstairs hallway are the only thing that be running by gas. And my idea was, yeah, well, down the road, we can easily, out of the Susie's money, we can replace the hot water tank. Go with me for a second. Now, what we should consider and get a quote on is not an electric hot water heater, in my estimation. It's an air-to-air heat pump hot water heater, especially in light that basement is as hot as all get out. It's much more efficient in electricity. It's a little more money, and I need to consult a few people. I've already talked to Scott Bovat about it from my own personal house, and he said, no. Just what you want it for, Bruce, is for 3 months in the summer. Just use your, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I have a standalone electric hot water heater that is, the elements have never been used because it's been used in conjunction with oil and wood. So that hot water tank that I have, I can convert in the summer to an electric hot water heater, so I don't have to run oil, or I don't have to run my wood.
Yeah, I'm
But-
listening to the school though.
But I know, but I was using that.
I know, but we're gonna go on
Wait,
and on.
No,
I wanna call the question.
Wait,
About this bid.
please.
I want
Okay,
to call the question about this bid.
okay, but then we're throwing in the hot water heater.
No,
Okay, then we talk about that later.
yes, it's
Good.
not on the agenda.
Fine.
It's 7:30. This is supposed to be over by
That
quarter of
sounds good.
7.
I've got other ideas,
Okay.
but we can worry about that later, yes.
Okay.
Your idea is right on, Stan.
Would you like to make a motion then?
I'd like to make a motion, we accept this bid of net 29, should I put it for the 34,450? In anticipation of the 4,500 efficiency, it says efficiency Vermont GMP, which would net it down to 29,500. And I can have an answer for you for this tomorrow. I can call Chris Greenwood, because if you see here, it says efficiency. Vermont.
Your motion is too long.
What do I say?
I'd like
Would
to
you be
make,
specific, please, about the motion?
That we, okay, forget what I said, Peter. I'd like to make a motion
to accept
to accept the bid for 29,000,
30,
I'm sorry, Peter, for $34,450 in anticipation of a $4,500 rebate from Efficiency Vermont.
may I, and I shall second that motion.
Let's make sure Peter's got it. Peter, you okay?
Next time,
I can't hear you.
to see if I can come over.
Okay,
Figure it out.
I'm sorry, Peter, I was really
all
not,
right, now,
I apologize.
proposal be accepted in the amount of $34,450 in anticipation
You didn't want me to,
Of a rebate.
so, you're just using the laptop right now.
of the Efficiency Vermont rebate.
Yes,
I'm assuming
Yes, of
they want me to-
$4,500, which will be reducing
whatever
that.
he's got on
the
there, Because.
You didn't have the name of
Okay, I'm gonna say in anticipation of a rebate, because there was some confusion over who was giving the rebate. Was it GMP or Efficiency Vermont?
it says Efficiency Vermont / GMP, but I think it's coming from Efficiency Vermont.
Well, just say in the motion, we'll just say in anticipation of a rebate,
Okay.
$3,500.
Okay,
And this is the Tim Hart,
I was contacting Colin.
his name of his company.
And so
Tim
today I
Hart
get
Heat
the
Pump
town hall,
Installations.
information.
That's the name of his company.
I'll be able to,
Is heat pump one word or two?
run
I can't hear him.
He,
Sorry.
I can't
okay,
hear.
One word, heat pump, or two?
two words.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Just a moment, Peter. Mark made a point of something on, did I miss something?
The name of the company.
We needed to put the contract in.
Okay.
On the bid.
You did it, okay.
Right. All right, so a motion's been made. I've seconded. Any further discussions about accepting the bid from Tom Hart Heat Pump Installations for the units for the daycare building? Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of accepting the bid for 34,000? Dorothy Maggio seconded it.
thank you.
$34,450 in anticipation of a $4,500 Energy Vermont Green Mountain Power rebate. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed unanimously. The RFP has passed. The next thing we just have to do is we need to write up what you want to do for the electric RFP and hot water. You need to think about that and bring it to our attention, do some research
That's
on it.
easy because I have time.
I certainly can say, I'm sure our preferred vendor, Mr. Larson, will work with Mr. Hart, but he also has to understand that we will be asking him to do a bid.
I already told him that, but our discussion we had yesterday was after I talked to him, and you were saying because he was a preferred vendor that, and it was under $7,500.
If it is under $7,500, I don't know if it
Well,
is.
Under 75, we still need two.
You need
You still
two.
do, you
Yes.
still need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that was the way I understood, but you were kind of correcting me yesterday.
I
That's okay.
had the
We're
contract,
good.
I have it with me, the purchase.
It makes it simple.
Yeah,
We could just put it on.
Well, it doesn't make any difference who corrected who, we gotta go
Yeah.
by the policy.
That's right. We just should put it out for an
There's no
RFP.
use, it's not constructive to bring that kind of
Hey,
stuff.
Stan, we should just put it out for an RFP. We might save some money.
And I have a, you said 34,950, I calculate it's 35,950.
Oh.
4,500 from 34,450, I get is 39,950. And then you add 6,000 to that, it's 35,950. Is that correct, or am I in error?
I'm sorry, you're talking about he added up his own costs and shortchanged himself $1,000?
Well, I thought the gentleman's bid was for 34,450.
It says
And then we're gonna-
34,450 complete,
Correct.
Yes,
Minus,
minus 4,500.
correct.
And if I subtract that, I get 29,950.
that's right,
He wrote 29,500.
which is right.
20, well,
Well,
950.
and you got, no, it's 9,420, it's 29,950. He's wrong in his calculation. I could
All right,
use a
well-
calculator to double check my thinking.
Well, that's easy stuff. What was it, 34.5?
Yeah.
Let me see. This is easy stuff. 34.5, 059,950, 29,950. Oh,
That's what I had.
and he
Plus
has,
6,000 is
and he has
35.
29. I said 29,950. He has 29.5. So that's an error on his part.
Yeah.
$450.
For $450 error. Okay, what do you want me to do about it?
Well, is our bid for the 29,950?
His subtraction of the $4,500 is in question, that's all.
That's all.
That's all. He put a bid out for $34,450 with a notation that the rebate process can change at any time. He's estimating that it's, so,
So it's
Because
yeah,
what he
less of
said.
the process change.
right.
But
I agree, we'll pay him $34,450 if there's no rebate.
Okay,
Okay,
then that's your maximum number.
That's our maximum
That's our
number, and that
maximum.
money is gonna
Up
come
to-
from the
Up
ARPA.
to 444.
34,450, correct.
Okay.
Because that's what's here.
Okay.
Whew.
I'm sorry.
That was a war.
Hey, can I just,
Go ahead.
No.
what is hot water being used for at the building? Is it just for hand washing? That's it?
And
Dishwasher, sanitizing dishes.
How would it be an on-demand hot water heater? and not
Well,
being-
You know, we're not in a rush because
It's
it's,
not being used majority of the time.
that's something to consider. I came up with the area heat pump because it's extremely efficient and you're using the existing heat in the basement. It's a really hot basement. But we need somebody who knows both units.
I think we need to discuss it in another meeting.
Yeah, right, we don't need to go into it now. But
Okay.
that, I'll thank you for that.
Put it up there.
That's a possibility. He's talking basic maintenance and on how to work it.
And they have electric, you can get them.
Gas, you can get them anyway, can't you?
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's a little effort. I'm gonna have to dig into that a bit.
And I wouldn't worry
I'll
about
give you
putting the
something
hot
to
water
do.
baseboard in the entryway, frankly. I mean, you've got heat all around it. I can't help but feel there's gonna be some radiation.
Sure.
So for leaving out the furnace on for heating that space, I would venture to guess that our only real need is for the domestic hot water. period.
And all in the air handlers,
Air
our
handlers.
friends,
Air handlers.
you know, the one in the cubby hole and the one upstairs, that has to be heated seven. I'd like it disconnected.
Those are heated by water?
Mm-hmm.
Why, is there any way that Mr. Larson can look at disconnecting those from the heating system?
Well, the problem with that is myself and,
It's either fixable or it's not. It's
no,
not.
not the fixable part.
Just take a look at it,
No,
just bring it
wait,
to
wait,
another
you
meeting.
know, you asked a question.
Well, they
Well, I
don't
can't
need
get the
it.
answer. Way I understand is the air handlers have to be running because it has to do with air in the given rooms
State
upstairs.
law, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
In volume change.
Hiram and I got into that a little bit at the very beginning of working on it. Because,
I don't need to know that.
well,
All I need to know is it possible to run the air handlers without the furnace running to get the air exchanged as needed by law without starting the furnace with the hot water?
no, because it's heated to 70 degrees in the winter. The water in the air handler, the idea of the air handler is is not only to have air going, circulating into the rooms, but a certain temperature in the winter, and it's set at 70 degrees.
So what is going to be called upon to deliver that 70-degree temperature? The heat pumps or the furnace downstairs?
Furnace.
So we're having to run it anyway.
That's true. I said that at the inception. I said the things that.
But where's the savings?
You're not running the entire heat system.
So the air handler can be isolated within the entire system.
I can shut the air handler off in 15 minutes if I want to. All I gotta do is throw the fuse. But that's not the, and there's modines down there, one in that area.
Yeah.
And there's one upstairs in order to prevent the system from freezing.
Yeah.
We've been around that route. But the way
So there is a need to have the hot water system going.
unless we can get away with not using those air handlers. We've got it on right now, Stan, 4 hours a day, 5 days a week.
So the
That's
boiler is running now in the summer.
Let me put it this way. Well, it has to for the hot water. But every time I gone in there, and the last 6, 7 times, that gas boiler has not been on since they fixed the unit. But before that, every time I was in there, that thing came on.
All right, I think this is something that needs to really be thought out. It's not,
it has
for
been.
tonight. But I don't know what you're talking about, and I think we need to move on.
Okay.
I think the air handlers, the hot water, running the boiler.
My question is, how much are we going to be saving with the two systems operating, given the parameters that are revealing themselves to keep the air handler at 70 degrees, plus domestic hot water, and the
That's
modine
it.
units in the basement?
The modines are a backup. The modines are to keep the area from freezing. And another thing.
But when do they come on?
They come on when it goes down too low.
Okay.
It's just set by a thermostat.
Okay.
So everything works in conjunction with each other, but that modine is in the. Another thing that I thought of the other day is that what's to stop us if we're still using that gas boiler for something in the heart of the winter of opening up that cubby hole and letting air get out of there. Now, I don't know what's the most efficient way to do this. We're getting off on a tangent.
Yes,
Friday
we
night.
are. I
really
really
are.
don't want to.
We're wasting a lot of time.
We
But
are.
we can work this out later, Stan.
I think you may need to talk together.
Yeah.
Well, then I have a question about the vote that we took. Would it be cheaper if we're gonna still have the system running in addition to the heat pumps to just simply put new boilers in?
We can't get an estimate for a boiler. We have been waiting 4 and 5 months. We cannot get a company to give us a basic estimate.
I tried
They're
to call the
not
code. It's going to get back to me in 2
providing any
weeks. That was
help.
over 2 months ago.
We've
Look,
been asking and asking and asking.
what we're doing here, just so we can put an end to it, is minimizing. Now, like I said before the vote, that the only thing that those gas boilers are going to run are the air handlers, 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, the upstairs hallway, and the gas hot water. Now, the upstairs hallway is usually kept at 50 degrees. That's hardly going to even come on. It would have to be the dead of winter. But it is the entranceway. And another thing that can happen down the road, I don't want to throw too much at you all, but I've thought about a lot of this, as you can tell. When I'm going to tell Emmett, when he installs this, when he gives us the conduits, that I want to make sure that he has enough room in there. If we choose to add another line somewhere down the road or two, we don't have to drag him in to rip everything out again to put another line in. So any
line for heat pumps.
Yes. So any conduit size, I want him to tell him, if he's going to use 1.5 inches, it's going to barely take the six lines. Let's say there's 6 going through. I'm going to tell him, use 2-inch, bud. We just leave us some room. So if we ever, maximum amount of flexibility is what I'm looking for.
Okay.
But as far as all your questions and your concerns are extremely valid, but it's very time consuming to go through it right now. And I'm sure I can make you rest assured that what we're doing is the right thing. And the best thing.
Maybe a work meeting or something like that. Where we're
Yeah,
not
I'm gonna
deciding, but just understanding things.
Yeah, I understand. What I want to do is get rid of those damn air handlers. All right, pain in the you know what. But anyway, that's enough. We're never going to get out of here if I keep this up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But
I was
Okay.
asking questions.
Yep. All right, we're going to move on to the next item, number B, updating the phone system using the purchase policy, regular purchase procedure using quotes from at least 2 vendors. I have information from Consolidated Phone Systems and Southern Vermont Telephone. Well, the information from the Consolidated system, we talked about, she gave us some information about being able to rent things and having all of our material all of our data in the cloud, total of about $278 a month for a 3-year contract. And then I come back and get an email saying, so Dorothy, I have some bad news. My sales engineer finished looking at the network at the central office, and we are not able to provide the circuit needed for the Pro Connect service in a cost-effective way. Our CapEx is actually $100,000 range. So even though we got an information, she is no longer out of it.
That's Consolidated?
That's correct.
I can
In
see
the
it.
meanwhile, I did speak to several times with the original gentleman, Martin Grimes, who owns Southern Vermont Telephone, and he talked to me yesterday. He is well, if we're interested in doing a phone system here, he can provide for us a 1 digital PBX box, installed voicemail, 3 phone systems that are LCDs with the speaker phones and caller IDs. There'll be 64 mailboxes with remote access. All equipment, it will, however, be refurbished. And he has a new price of $750 complete. And so for $750, we will be getting a refurbished phone system. He will give us a 12-month warranty on parts and labor, excluding fire, flood, lightning, and acts of God, misuse, or abuse. And I think that this is the best way to go forward. It will be an update to it. It's under $1,000. So even though we have 2 bids here, we can certainly go through it. So I'm going to make a motion that we hire Mr. Martin Grimes of Southern Vermont Telephone Company to install the new phone system here in Town Hall.
Seconded.
Seconded by Stan Noga. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Sir, yes, sir.
Does he have backup phones or replacement phones?
He has, yes, he does.
Okay.
He'll be able
I'm all
to,
set.
yes.
Does he have gas boilers?
All right, so hearing that, all those in favor of replacing the phone system with the Southern Vermont Telephone program of refurbished phones signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those in favor, they said aye. All right, the motion passed. Thanks you very much. Okay, next item, discussion with the bill for $5,770 from Putney Fire Department. I'm going to suggest we table that because we are waiting to hear back about the town manager in Putney is working with Melissa Brown, our assistant treasurer, and they are going to see if they may change the way of the billing, if they can convince the fire department to bill the responsible party or not. They're not in any rush to be paid. So I suggest tonight, because of time, that we table it, unless you wanted to add something. Stan, I know you've worked hard on this but I think deciding on a contract and everything else, or a note for him to sign, or whether he got a loan, may be moot for the town of Brookline to be worried about at this time.
For those who are not familiar, I did talk with him. I did suggest to him the possibility of obtaining a bank loan. He was going to try that last Friday, and I was to call him on Saturday. I called him on Saturday and he did not answer. I asked him to call me over the weekend. He did not call. I believe he's on vacation this week. So he's going to owe somebody. He's been not as responsive as I would have liked him have been. So other than advising of that, I think tabling it is a good thing.
All right, I will add it to the agenda for the July 20th.
The only thing I should ask or would like other people's opinion on, should he call me this week from his vacation or next weekend on a Saturday? Because apparently has worked Saturdays as well. Should I simply tell him that the money is due, but we're working out whether he should pay it to us or to Putney?
That would be the way to go, because if he's going to get a loan, he might as well get a loan and pay it that way.
Okay.
So I thank you again, Stan, for sharing that time. All right, so we'll table that further discussion till the next time. Next, we'll have the appointments. We appointed Stuart and Julia Duke and I guess I spelled the name wrong. here in my agenda. Updates to the website as requested by the delinquent tax collector, custodian of public funds, and Round Schoolhouse. That has all been done. He does. He had it corrected.
Okay.
Yeah. So the website was finished and updated today. There's still a need to fill 2 appointed select board member seats. I did mention at my community Zoom that people who show up, if they're really interested in serving the town, that they may consider to attend some select board meetings and consider coming in and asking about appointment if that's what they would like to do. All right, move on. Next, ARPA money moved to cover the highway salary. There was some question about, okay, at the last, at a May meeting, we approved moving the money from ARPA to cover Mark Bill's additional salary for the year.
Taken off the budget, I saw.
And because I was used to Mr. Tanza, Assistant Treasurer, being in the room when we made those decisions,
Okay.
he usually would tell the treasurer and bring that information and see that that followed through. And so I dropped the ball in this respect, and it might happen again. So that was why the movement of that money did not happen in a timely fashion. My next question is though.
$27,000.
Yeah, there was a question whether it was $27,000 or $28,000.
$27,115.
Did we round it? Round it.
Look at those
I
numbers.
You might have, but that's the number I provided the day that I.
right, and I printed it out. Here's some calculation. Here it is. $27,115. I didn't bring that, but I didn't, right, you justify, but I don't know if I brought the actual minutes with me to do that, but that's why it was not, Melissa was like, what do you mean it was supposed to be transferred, but that's why.
Well, I'm not sure we actually voted to make the transfer. We were supportive of it. We thought we should do it. But when I went back and looked at the minutes, I couldn't find that we actually voted to do it. So when I was emailing, trying to find out from Melissa whether in fact that transfer of the 27,115 had occurred, it turned out that she was aware of there being possible discussions about it. And she did look it up and she found there was a discussion of 28 even and the discussion of 27,115, but she didn't know which one and she didn't know if we in fact wanted to proceed with that. So I told her, since we hadn't talked about it yet and voted that if in fact we're going to do it, the impetus for us having done it back when was because we were under the impression, and it still may be, that our highway fund was very low. And that was the reason that discussion occurred about whether or not we should transfer money from ARPA for the justifiable reason that exists. And so I could be wrong, but I recall looking it up. I did not see an actual vote. So it would seem that if we are going to do it, that we need to have a vote on record, unless I'm wrong, and you would have verified that, I suspect. And then instruct via the minutes and or make a copy for Melissa and Judy to in fact do the transfer.
And I believe it, because I don't have the minutes in front of me, I recalled it being the lower of the two, the 27,000 and not the 28, because we knew that there may have been the total number of hours may not have been been worked.
But did we approve it?
Well, right now, shall I make a motion to move the $27,000 from ARPA into the highway salary fund at this time?
I think so.
I think it would be appropriate, eliminates any question, we're not making the vote,
Yep.
and it's just a matter of do you want to be 27 to round or do you want to be 27,115?
I would round it.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we move $27,000 from the ARPA fund into the highway salary fund for the 2021-2022 fiscal year. May I have a second?
So moved.
Seconded by Bruce. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the movement of ARPA funds in the amount of $27,000 to the highway salary fund for 2021-2022 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All are in favor. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay. Next item, interlocal agreement, Putney property taxes, Brookline maintenance agreement dated December 6, 2021. I have a letter from Karen Astley, Town Manager of Putney, with an agreement dated 12/06/2021, when David Jones was the selectman. The agreement itself was not signed. She's asked for someone in the select board to sign it. And the agreement is basically, whereas Putney provides road maintenance on portions of Holland Hill and Bennett Road, and located in Brookline, and whereas Putney owns a certain parcel of real estate on Putney Mountain in Brookline, which is 85 acres, that the formalized agreement Putney will maintain the plowing, sanding, graveling, and grading of that portion of road, and in exchange, the town of Brookline will pay for the taxes of the 85 acres. And the tax form is a total tax of
$2,091.48.
Yeah.
It's a number in the agreement as well.
Is
And
it
that may not be correct, was that last year's amount? Because that was dated 12/6/2021.
This is 2021.
right? And then this tax bill here for the span parcel for the Putney Town Care Treasurer. I'm going to pass this to you. You want to take a look at
No,
this? You have a copy of it?
I've got copies of it right here.
I'm having a hard time reading. Oh, $2,091.54.
Yep, that's it.
All right.
Okay.
Make a motion that I'd like to sign as the select board chair, the agreement for this exchange of road service and taxes for the property. Is there anybody who has a problem? Although, may I have a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Stan. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of having Dorothy Maggio sign the agreement between Putney and Brookline, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pass unanimously. I'm going to sign it.
A
Dorothy.
comment when you're done.
Sorry, second by.
Stan Noga.
Stan Noga,
Thank you.
welcome.
And your comment, Stan?
Yes, the agreement says that we should make 50% of that payment after the second, or at the time of the second installment, or apparently the end of the year. And then the final half, apparently the 30th of June of this year. It must imply that we didn't pay anything for that first half?
That's what it implies. So I am in agreement with you, Stan, that this is one of the things that needs to be discussed when we do budgeting, because there's another $3,000 that we didn't account, or, several $1,000s that we didn't account for. Okay?
I mean, I realize they're taking care of Holland Hill Road for us, but we also maintain a section of their property on our.
Oh, that's maintained by us.
Yeah,
Ah.
just so we know that.
Okay.
That's
Mark
important.
Bills,
Thank you,
please
Mike.
make a note, Peter, please make a note in the minutes that Brookline also notes that we maintain some Putney Mountain Road in addition to paying the taxes on the 84-acre parcel, correct? About how much of it? That little section there.
It's probably 400 or 500 feet in length. It's
Okay.
similar to what they do for us
Right.
on Holland Hill.
All right, so I have signed this, and if we assign the agreement, then I will pass on to the treasurer the fact that this bill needs to be paid in the next accounts payable. Stan?
One other question, am I correct in assuming that we're not charging interest or late fees to anyone for the late payment of the first agreed installment? Or is it only after the last fourth payment if it's not paid?
We're not being charged late fees for this bill. She's just asking us to pay the Putney tax
Okay.
on that lot.
Okay, so we owe it to them,
We owe them,
okay, and there is no interest, I see,
right,
okay.
so this is okay to pay.
Well, let's see, the land this is a bill from the town of Brookline to the town of Putney. And so we are not billing them interest. That's what it is, okay.
Okay,
We are paying their taxes.
we are absorbing their taxes in lieu of their maintenance. So there may not actually be a bill. Okay,
There's no interest because of the relationship apparently. I don't recall if on the delinquent tax list that Melissa prepared for us,
if that
if we
shows
saw
up.
but you there at all.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, no.
Okay, okay.
Okay, interesting. Again, this is something,
We've had agreement for years. I've seen it.
Right.
Yes, we have. But we've never budgeted for it.
That's
That's the-
weird.
We just forget it. Of all the pressure at that time of the year,
So
we're
that-
forgetting to do that.
Yeah, and it's out of the road fund, right?
Yeah,
Right.
well, apparently, I was.
That's $2,000 less you can spend, bud.
all right, so let's continue on under new business. So we did the interlocal agreement, discussion about email addresses used for town business. Stan brought up a question about 7-year rule and the amount of using the Gmail accounts for emails. And I did contact and talk to VLTC lawyers. It is something that we can bring up at another meeting. If you don't mind, we can table it. Because it was just in the past 48 hours,
Okay.
I haven't shared it all with you, but I did bring it with me.
Okay.
But I would like to table the discussion of the email accounts.
Okay.
It's not a pressing issue, and put it on the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Okay. Table. Reports and updates. Road supervisor, Mark, I did put in the agenda that the 2020 John Deere mower scheduled for June 27th through July 1st was canceled by HP Fairfield Company. They sold or did not have a machine that was promised in the contract. However, Alta JBC wheeled excavator rental will rent us a mower arm to the town of Brookline. The delivery date will be, when did you say?
I just got an email tonight saying that it would be Friday.
Oh, the 8th. So July 8th,
But you're gonna have
the wheeled excavator will be in town for,
Yeah,
on the 8th?
on the 8th.
Oh, wow.
They have plumbed it for this mowing attachment, but they don't have the attachment. And the email states that they will deliver the mower when it comes in and attach it for us to use.
So,
The price has not been negotiated yet.
because we're gonna have it for 6 weeks, so you need it for a week to do the.
but it may not be the first week of
I know.
the excavator.
I'm just
It
saying,
might
are they
be
gonna
the
give it to
third
you?
week is what it looks like.
Pardon me?
It might be the third week. in
Oh,
that
that's
window.
okay, well, you got 6 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, I also received a phone call, but I did not get the message till after 5, so I'll call in the morning. And that was to go over pricing. They now have a new person that wanted to know, what we had for prices that were,
For what, excavators?
the first person I
25
talked to at Alta Equipment was gonna give us the same price we rented for last year, which was $6,000 per month. So I was thinking that we were gonna get it for the same. We've gone through 2 or 3 salespersons and rental persons. So whether this is still gonna stick or not, I'll find out in the morning.
Okay.
So it's 6,000 per month, but we added 2 more weeks, so it should be,
9,000.
yeah.
8,000, yeah.
And then trucking was another 1,000, which was the old price. I don't know if that's jumped due to fuel prices. And then the mower itself may have a rental fee for that attachment. The machine comes with a digging bucket and a ditching bucket. So the mower is an optional thing. So that will have a monthly or weekly or daily rental fee that we'll need to figure out. We have not received any type of paperwork yet, so after I speak with them tomorrow, or I can forward this person's numbers if somebody else wants to clarify.
Tomorrow's a little busy for me, but we could
Yeah.
work out something if need be.
Okay. So that's what's going on with the rental.
Okay.
It's been quite a fiasco to get this. It seems like nobody calls back as much as you'd like. But I realize there's shortage on everything, including the equipment and the people, so.
Is the tractor that's coming new or used, you know?
I do not know that yet.
Okay.
I believe if it's used, it's probably like a demonstration machine, so it only has
I
maybe
see.
40 to 200 hours on it, is what I'm thinking.
What price on that?
But I know that talking with the salesman over time, he's sold several, and I don't know how many there are in our New England area, but they're still in high demand, and people are renting and buying, so.
Where's this company from? Is this,
They're all together, I guess.
Oh, there's
Alta
several.
is the name of the company. They're in Pennsylvania, they're in New York, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut.
Is it Concord in New Hampshire?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the one I've been dealing with. They're the closest. And whenever I called for anything, they always ask, what's your zip code, and
Uh-huh.
it shows up.
so it's possible that this one you're renting is available to rent, I mean, lease with the option to buy or buy.
I believe that all of their equipment is of that.
Of that.
Well, that's an interesting point, because if we're gonna apply down the road for the grant from the, I forget what department it is.
Oh, you're talking about Vermont?
The one that's
Twice a
only
year.
the 2.5%. I think the next application day is October.
Right.
So if it were used and if it were a favorable price, it might not hurt to inquire as to
Sure.
if it were possible to contemplate that.
Mhm.
So that you've got something in your use year round for whatever purposes that can be
God bless
accomplished.
America.
And, you know, so.
Yeah.
I think, Mark, once we get the equipment here, they may be more likely to talk to us. We call them up. So
Yeah,
then
they
we
would
can possibly
probably even come and set.
come and talk to us in more details about
So you
those
know,
things. Because they're not gonna get it back unless they come and talk to us.
Well, you know, when Mark and I went out with Jeff Nugent and we're looking around town at the list of things that needs to be accomplished by the end of 2025, there's, I think, 5 serious areas that need attention. And I'm thinking that, we don't have the money to go out and do all of them one year, but we do have 23, 24, 25, 3 years to go. And it was nice to find that when the original people who did this survey back in 2019, I suspect they were trainees, and they miscategorized some of the sites in town as not totally complying or partially complying, when in fact, after Jeff looked at, coincidentally, several locations or segments when Mark and I were with him, like down here at the culvert near Stankowitz,
It's completed.
there's 2 segments at least that were labeled as not in compliance. But when he looked at them, he says, I don't know why they rated it that way. So we're gonna get credit for having completed 2 job sites just by Jeff having looked and changing it. So it's that kind of thing. And when I looked at the maps today and bringing them down for you, I noticed that there are a number of other sites that don't really require a lot of work. And to have this machine available would go a long way toward us meeting our requirements by V-Trans.
On a daily basis, on the way to, you can probably complete those on the way to a job.
I think the word is win-win.
Yeah.
For a lot of
yeah.
reasons.
Yeah.
Or a lot of reasons.
Hopefully that'll gel sometime.
We'll work on that.
Sorry to take
So
your
I'll-
time.
When I find out in the morning any information, I'll forward that on an email around, and then we can let me see, tomorrow's Thursday. So there should be some paperwork flying back and forth.
I'll be around Friday. Call me and I can meet you or whatever, if you
Okay.
need something.
All right.
Because they didn't ask us for insurance either.
Yeah, I know, and they always, unless they have us on file because we've worked with them.
I know, but we have to pay a premium for it though, so.
Because my original date to them was the 11th, and I called, left messages, do we need to, have some paperwork, filled out and liability and stuff, and still.
We'll make sure the town is protected though.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm sure they will too upon delivery. Okay, so I guess since our last meeting, one of my questions, so another issue in town has been the paving contractors. So I have chatted with one of the contractors that won bid, and as you know, they wanted both jobs, but were willing to pass on one job to the other contractor. And then the next call I got, they wanted to go back to each doing their own thing for future reference.
Right.
So I'm not exactly sure when things will take place, but I guess it's.
I think Mr. Nova can share a little
Yeah,
light on that.
yeah.
Stan, you mind sharing what
I know
you're
that.
aware of?
Yeah.
Seen some emails that
Okay.
showed that things might be back in order.
Yeah, well, yes, neither one has given a specific date for performing the work.
Just a range.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're in a little bit of a bind, in a way. After you contacted Dot, I contacted Bazin,
Okay,
who was the runner-up bid for the smaller project,
okay,
and indicated, that we had an interest in following up with them. And as far as my conversation with them as of that date, and it still is in effect, they're expecting us to decide tonight whether or not we're gonna go with them.
okay.
As part of that, I asked them if they could recalculate their estimate,
Uh-huh,
because it appeared to be so different than the one that we received from the other vendor.
yeah,
And Patrick St. Pierre required me to request that in email. I did. In 24 hours, he had submitted it to Mr. Marsden, who apparently does the pricing and approval of projects and so forth. And they had found they made approximately a $5,000 error. They reduced their bid from 30,000 and some change to 25 and some change. Subsequent to getting that estimate revised, when I asked Allstates to provide a letter that they were withdrawing their bid, I included in that the fact that this was a FEMA project and that we were required to have documentation for withdrawal. In the back of my mind, I knew that we were going from one bid down here at $14,022 to another bid that's $26,000.
yeah.
And FEMA would probably be jumping up and down on their seat saying, why didn't you take the lower one?
Right.
Because it's,
Cheaper.
it's cheaper.
Right.
So when I got that letter, I was both happy that we're going to continue to save roughly $11,000,
Mhm.
but upset with the fact that we had to go through this rigmarole,
Yeah,
and then now in a position where we really have to refuse the revised bid of Bazin Brothers because they're $11,000 more than the one who said, we don't want to admit we made a mistake, we'll do it anyway. It's what it boiled down to. The fellow who bid the job
For Bassin.
for
Allstate.
Allstate screwed up.
But because it's FEMA, they don't want to have a
They don't
bad
want a
name
bad
when it's
name.
FEMA.
Yes.
So the bids as voted and accepted are going to be held
Still valid.
fast. And we do need to, can I ask you to call Bassin and say, we're just getting status quo from the original bid agreement, that you'll do this one project and they're going to do the other
Be
project.
happy to do that, and that is what is appropriate. I would probably follow it up with an email letting them know that. The question that remains now that we know we have to go with a lower bidder for FEMA purposes or something else, it's not a decision we really should be making. I'm sure they're gonna say, we possibly won't pay for this because you could have saved everyone $11,000. It's a government funded scenario. The question revolves around, and I think we could probably depend on you and or Archie, is that when we got I did, by the way, I need to take a step back. I did get a signed bid by Allstate for the $14,022. I have a copy of that here. I will put it in the file tomorrow or Friday morning. It's on my computer, so not only do I have the hard copy, I've got it in the place. It's not gonna get damaged or lost. Baz & Brothers scratched out the bonding phrase in Article 13 in their contract. So where most will say, we're gonna get a bond for you, and that's what our original request kind of was. Our contract includes that we expect that. They're saying we're not gonna do that. Now, it's a $64,000 job plus. Is that satisfactory to allow them to do that? Have you seen that in the bids? If you've been involved, I don't know if you have been involved or not in the past. Is it anything that you've heard discussed or talked about? Or does Archie need to be called or what have you? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not there I can't say, but maybe he's been at it a lot longer than I have. He might be a better option to question on that.
I mean, they're a local vendor.
Yeah.
They've got a reputation to protect.
Right.
And they are a preferred vendor.
They are a preferred vendor.
And I don't believe you ever requested a bond before. However, the VLTC contracts do have that in there.
Say we should have that. But
They
we
may
can
be-
obviously manipulate that to.
Just sign, just initial it that we read
That's
it
the
and
other thing that's
accept.
gonna be required. We're gonna have to
Okay.
initial that change and agree to it and send it back to them for their records.
Yeah,
Okay.
they may be used to doing that with all their other
It may very well be.
work and just included it, but
I mean, I guess sitting back from a logical standpoint, I don't see it as a real significant issue. But on the other hand, if they do screw up and we need to go after them, the bottom line monetary support for the error is now gone. So I don't know what to make of that.
yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it's something that past practice has not to be having a bond. The only time I recall having a bond was when the Pinnacle, when the driveway up at the Windmill Hill was going to be modeled and they were going to damage the parking lot. We weren't paying for anything, but we asked for a bond or
To make sure they
fixed it to that better condition. So that was the only time we had a bond
Okay.
at that point,
All right.
which they got. All right.
So I have a copy of that here. It sounds like I should make a motion or a motion should be made to accept Bazin's contract of 64 plus with the amendment that they have made of deleting the bond requirement for them. Is that correct?
So you're making a motion to accept the deleted bond, to not require them to have a bond.
Okay, that's the same thing.
Okay.
That sounds
All right,
good
so
to me. I'll
Stan has
second
made a
that.
motion to accept the contract from Bass and Brothers to not to require a bond, and I will second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the contract with Bass and Brothers for the paving job without the bond requirement signify by saying aye. Aye. It's a unanimous, so that I can initial that on the contract at your leisure.
The only comment I need to make is that I downloaded that when it's sent to me, it was set in a PDF format. When I try to print it as if it were a Word document, it comes out like this.
Beautiful, how cute.
And I looked it up and before I came down, I need to change an
Okay.
order to my printer to print it as if it's a picture. And I haven't done that.
I'm
So
around.
I'll give you a
I'm
buzz.
around. Okay, absolutely. All right, Mark,
Okay, so.
spin this computer around here.
So, not knowing when our paving was gonna be done, I finally, I took a few bags of our patch out and fixed a couple of the worst potholes out next to the river. Just going to be lots more traffic for the holiday and, hoping that pavers would come to town within a reasonable period of time limit, but, so anyway, I did that. In my road checks, we've had a few wind and rain storms where I've removed some trees and brush from the roadways. Mowing at the intersection. Maintaining the recycle bin. We've had a couple really busy weekends where
Boy, what was that?
things got, I think some of the wedding parties at the end of the cleanup, they're leaving anything they can put
That
out
happens at
there
this time
out
of
of
year, John.
recycle bins.
Oh.
A lot of champagne wine bottles or so. But then there's been a lot of stuff that's non-recyclable, compliance.
Yeah.
And,
Are any of them back full?
Oh,
no,
Jesus.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Depends on what kind of Chardonnay.
But,
What kind of,
so
champagne.
I've been trying to call in on Mondays. Of course, Monday was a holiday. If they tend to get almost full near the weekend, and by Monday they're overflowing. So I might just change it up a little bit so that our span falls middle of the week on the weekend as far as having it filled and emptied. So I'm still working on that. I did cleaning in the shed. I did find some old faded cracked stop signs, which I did replace some of the ones that were vandalized until we do something different. They were just ones were already paid for, and I just added them to what was there. Changed water filters at school, check fire extinguishers, changed air filters.
Thank you, Lindsay. Mark, since you brought that up.
Yeah.
The ones in the air handlers, we might not have to do every month or so.
Those are the metal
We're
wire.
getting into that later, but if you find it doesn't need to be done every month, just do the other ones.
Yeah.
And like every couple of months, every 3 months, or we'll see. We might not even be using the damn thing if I have nitrous. Well, that switch and be done with it.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And I had a question that I put on my latest bill, and Judy, I was wondering if there might be an increase to the mileage reimbursement for higher gas prices, because if it kept coming in NDOT said something came in the mail that.
Yeah, IRS increased the mileage rate for the remainder of 2022. This was dated July 1st, 2022, and it is, I guess I was thinking 2021. Mileage for reimbursement is now 62.5 cents per mile, which is up 4 cents from the rate affected at the start of the year. So going forward from July 1st, the reimbursement rate for mileage is 62.5 cents a mile. So add that to your.
Okay, and then, that's it. We did get culverts, and we just recently got a bill, and I'm working with Judy on that to see if we can locate a slip. She wanted to make sure that they were an in-town purchase, which they were.
That was the $3,000.
That's it, yes,
Yes.
okay.
So I just need to find that paper somewhere. I don't know if they put it in the box at the town barge. I haven't looked in there yet, so I'll look for that.
If not, you can always ask them to reprint it.
Yeah, I can do that. And then I just have another question for Judy on my billing. I think she may have paid me at one of the old hourly rates, so I'll just check with.
Okay,
Judy
check with her on that, yeah.
And that, the other thing was meeting with Jeff Nugent, and Stanley was there, and we had a very informational time with Jeff, and he was kind enough to go out on the road and give us some input on sites that we were interested in working on, and I'm sure Stan can probably shed way more light on our meeting than I can, if he'd like to speak. on
Before
that.
you start that, I did have something on the agenda
Sure.
for the rest of the FEMA repairs. I know you were talking with Jeff about what needs to be done in town, but still there was some FEMA work that needs to be done. And I just remember Mel being sort of since the damages were attacked and started to work on within 72 hours, we didn't have to go out for bid.
Right.
But going forward, FEMA repairs of over $7,500 needed to be written up. And I was wondering, something I can work with you or Archie, and we need to sit down and really plan. I know you're gonna be talking about road segment plan that you're gonna do, but FEMA repair plans have to also be bidded.
Right, I saw that note, and so are you talking estimated cost repairs that are?
We're gonna have to, we need to, just like buying something or fixing a culverts or hiring another company, we need to say, we need this amount of road, gravel this deep, and how size stone and how much is it gonna cost? And we need to have a
price.
project price for it, and then I need to put it in a paper kind of thing.
Okay, and that's to complete our FEMA.
To complete the
flood
FEMA work, if it's
from
any project,
July
which is
to-
probably more than $7,500, the rest of the FEMA work.
Just materials alone may
Be over.
somewhere
So-
near that.
So that's something to consider, sitting down with Archie and or Stan or myself. And Bruce, you're welcome too, because I know you have all the time.
Now, have are we still on a daily or weekly meeting with Mel? How's this?
No, I have some work I have to get that letter in with the maintenance changes, and I have to take the town computer and go into the portal because they wanted a couple of things to be checked. And then we're not on a weekly thing, just sort of he wants to process some of the projects. So I'll have to borrow that computer and go into the portal because I can't do it from mine.
Sure, okay.
All right, so now we'll go back to the road segments and Jeff Nugent.
Follow-up questions
Sure.
to the last topic we were on. Does FEMA require a bidding process regardless of the dollar amount, or is it purely they want us to simply follow our own?
They want us to follow our purchase policy.
So if it's $1,200, we can,
If it's
less
one
than
or two,
$1,000, we can do our own.
whatever thing, and
Okay,
if it's under 7,500, then we can have two people who can estimate it and but otherwise you have to advertise it.
So even though that was we started out under an emergency situation.
It's no longer
It's
emergency.
no longer considered. Okay. So
Emergency.
even though we're started, it has to now go out to bid.
Yes,
Contract. Okay.
right.
Yeah.
And we could put it out to bid and only one person bid on it, like we had with the other thing, that's fine, but
Right.
we need to really analyze what's left to do and get that package out so that we can finish up this summer, whether it be, since we have to get outside contractors to do some of the work.
All right.
Okay.
So I just add one thing. If we have inquired for any project we're doing that requires bids of a firm like your bid for this heat pump system, it would be nice to document which firms were contacted approximately when, so that if we're ever questioned about, we've got that backup information available.
You want that for my team?
Well, I've been doing it right along for whatever I've been involved with. I've got it on the back, on the RFP that's put in the paper, the bids that come in, they're saved to a subdirectory under contracts and then estimates.
Well, these weren't, the other two weren't bids, they were just estimates. I
Okay,
can produce it.
okay. Well, I'm just wondering what we should be documenting in the
That's no
future.
problem.
If we're doing the RFPs in the newspaper, what we get in the mail is good. And we just got
That's
one.
that.
But if you're gonna work below 7,500 and you're gonna get two people, you
Okay.
need to identify which, like I did with the phones,
Right,
Okay.
right,
like I did with the phones.
okay.
Yeah, well, you've got the documentation and you provided it, so.
Right.
I mean, you've sent emails, so there's, you know, and then copies of the stuff you got, so.
Right.
I just didn't know to be of help to Bruce, if now
It's
that I'm
called
thinking out
CYA.
loud, should we be asking, or should you be documenting somewhere along the way, those kinds of bits of information that you got?
You keep in folders and files.
Yeah, something like
That would be important.
Not to make things more difficult, but,
No, none of that.
okay, all right.
This is all a lot more cut and dry, but whatever, okay.
Okay. Yeah, the meeting that, first, I gotta go back because I didn't answer, Mark's question, and that is when are the work gonna be done? Neither entity specified a specific date. Both, however, indicated that it would be, before the time frame specified in the bid. I have a sense that Allstate, because of their error, is going to put it off until they have to come. I have a sense that Bazin Brothers, given their schedule, is probably going to also be in the late summer, or maybe in August, because of the fact that they're in Putney, going to go to Dummerston, going to go to Townsend, they have a private job, and before we got involved, they were going to Pownell. So I don't think that we're going to get either of the firms here in July. I suspect it'll be later, but Mark may have some input on that.
Well, I can't speak for Basin, but the way that all states talk, they knew that Basins were gonna be in Dummerston and then Townsend, and thought, while they're in the area with their equipment, that they would come to us right in that same time frame, rather than jump, they would fit us in. Then from all states, when he says we'd like to reconsider, we want to do what we said we were going to do, and he said that he would pull a group of his guys and possibly bang it out in one day on a Saturday.
Oh, neat.
So what you know, if that means anything, so it may be sooner than later.
I know FEMA is asking for the Allstate invoice, and I'm like, we haven't had the job done yet, so
Right, yeah,
I don't have an
it's still-
invoice,
it's
but
still just,
that was one of the things that's holding up the paperwork.
right.
All right. So it was a very informative meeting with Jeff Nugent, and I was so happy that Mark was there because I learned how much Mark has up here. When Jeff was talking about stuff, it was obvious to me that Mark is aware of it. He was able to indicate what we had done along the way on jobs that had been done. On Parker Road was one of the areas we walked. And I felt that, you know, I was so impressed that I feel I need to mention that we're really lucky to have Mark's involvement and everything, because he's right on it. He really is.
I appreciate that, and I feel less about what you do for myself, and I feel good having you guys backing me up for what you do, and but it makes me feel good to help think that.
Mutual, yeah.
Thank you.
So, as part of Jeff's promise, he went over some things with Mark and myself as to the errors that I mentioned earlier, and the ability to revise some of the work that needed to be done. So if we can get some good solid time on the mechanism, the machinery that we're leasing or renting this summer, we're going to go a long way toward meeting our required obligations. I think Hill Road is one. We're going to, apparently Parker Road is another that requires some work. And I think the Hill Road one is money that is probably, well, I guess how we structure it, we've got $6,700 grant that we have to use by, I think, September 1st. So we need to decide which project that money should go to.
What segments?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think you had made an estimate of, or provided an estimate that was provided by A.S. Clark last year to do the Hill Road corner there where that ledge is.
The ledge.
And that estimate, I assume, is going to increase, but it's very, very close to the amount of money we've got available via that grant. That's one option. I don't know if we have, if any thoughts you might have on the Parker Road areas that he had talked about. Most of
Yeah,
it
those-
seems to be ditching and stone,
Yeah.
if I recall correctly.
Yeah, some of it can just be taking the berms off the edges to make sure the water sheets off the
Yeah.
road rather than it's funneled.
Yeah.
There's multiple ways, but yeah, adding the stone line ditches is a huge part of completing a bunch of these segments. So whether it's fixing the shoulders or stone lining, stone dams, like, or even shaping them and then grassing them down. But yeah, I feel like the machine would speed the process way up to accomplish many segments through these summer months while we have it.
So I guess it looks to me, and I'd like your input and the board's input on this, is at some point we ought to get together and sit down and look at, if we did Parker Road with the machine that you're gonna have access to, we're not looking at really too much in the way of additional, it would be delivery of the rock, probably trucking of any of the materials that we've excavated out of the ditches, and having that brought somewhere else,
Yeah.
as opposed to hiring a company to do the whole thing, like Hill Road would be.
Right.
So we might want to look at because I know it sounded like there may be a need to build up some of Parker Road so that the grade can be feathered down and create the proper slope.
Yeah.
So there's material costs involved. I don't know, would it be appropriate to sit down and go over what the needs are of
Yeah.
each area and then plan accordingly and try to do an RFP
And estimated, yes.
so that we proceed with our policy and in an organized fashion
Sure.
where we're accomplishing and doing what we can within the monies we have available.
Right.
And I'd be glad to sit down to get
Okay.
those RFPs going. They have a new portal for reformer stuff that I'm
Yeah.
good, happy with.
Excellent.
Another one that I really want to accomplish too is this culvert site on Putney Mountain, just up from the pavement damage. It's the culvert we ordered, whether that goes out as a contract service, because of the cost. But, we've already paid for the culverts, but I made myself a note here to contact A&R's person again to find out if that culvert is the right size for that. And if so, it just needs to get done this year, whether that's gonna be part of FEMA reimbursement or a grant, or we do it in town as part of our general contract service.
Was that pointed out as a FEMA project initially to the inspectors?
Yeah,
And we're doing it FEMA because they're doing 90% reimbursement now.
yeah. So, and they require A&R's permitting approval first, and then if it needs the hydraulic study, but we need to hear back from A&R first. So I have 2 calls to make tomorrow morning on A&R. And the other is got the excavator, so.
So we have $6,700 for this year's aid and grant project. And I got an email from the person responsible for the grant that we sent in our letter of intent to use. And we've been allotted $12,000 on that grant for work to be done in compliance with that particular program. So by the end of the, hopefully September 30th on one and September 1st on the other, this year, in conjunction with the segments of road that need to be done for this year to put us closer to our goal of having most, or if not all, done by 2025. will be well along the way. And the one thing that's comforting that I think the board and the town should know, it was informative to me, Mark probably already knew it, that Jeff said that if you don't get everything done by the end of 2025, the state's not gonna come in and take our roads away from us.
They'll start spray painting them.
Yeah, right, and they'll hook cleaners.
Take the gravel away.
So that was comforting to hear, and I guess that's all I have to say on grants and roads at this point. Thank you.
Yeah, Jeff is a great person there. He's so knowledgeable, and with so many towns that he covers, he remembers
That was
all
impressive.
the areas in every town. He loves to hike, jog, run.
One thing that I will offer, in addition to what I've already said, and this I think will be a tremendous help to Mark and anyone who's assisting Mark like myself, is he sent us through the internet maps, master maps for the erosion aspect of the town roads and then the culvert aspect of town roads. And he has also sent a software program that either of us, both of us could put on. I have an iPad. I've not used it, but I'm gonna learn to use it. And those two maps and this software, if Mark is out and about, or any one of us that wants to use this software, you can tap on the segment of the road that you're at, and it'll tell you exactly what needs to happen there. So it's right in front of you.
That's what they had at that workshop in Dover, right? They were talking about that iPad program.
So each of us has the ability to do that, and at some point before the month is over, I'd like to download that on my iPad and see how it works.
We even have the maps that he puts together. It's broken down.
Jeez.
Culvert, like the culvert, the grade of the road, the type of road, the crown, the berm, the drainage, what needs to be done. Needs ditch with vegetation, both sides need ditch with stone or vegetation. So each individual segment site is even.
He printed it out, so if we don't have the computer access, it's on the
copy
paper.
that, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Good.
So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's become quite interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Right, are we ready to move on to
Absolutely.
the select board chair report? All right, I'm gonna do real quick. I had a community Zoom yesterday. The summary was placed out on the website, the listserv from Julia. And I did speak with Lieutenant French up at the Vermont State Police, and I will send an email to save time tonight. I'll send an email to the community, and the select board members can also review it on some of his suggestions. The website has been updated as requested, and I believe the window in the round schoolhouse has been repaired. No, it hasn't. She pulled it out, though.
No,
She didn't pull it out.
no, it's still there.
I thought she was coming last, I thought she was gonna come. All right, I have to go check on the window repair then.
Okay.
All right. ACO lost dogs, again, we had lost dogs, found dogs, chickens attacked and killed by said lost dogs. I'm working with the owners of the chickens to determine the remedy. And I talked to another animal control officer in Athens because that's where the dogs came from. So I'm working on that. Anyway, his name is Steve Oates. He's also a constable, so I did talk to him a little bit about constable information.
Yeah.
But that's not for, that's for another time.
Please.
All right, that's it for me at this time. Building Commissioner Bruce, water
Okay.
problems in Coda and Coda.
Pretty easy. Code and Code sent a bill, I believe it's for the town office for the yearly contract. We'll have another one in the fall for school. They're two separate contracts.
Do we have to vote to accept these contracts?
That should be just the town office, isn't it?
It's a contract, okay. Contract not valid unless payment is enclosed. The capped budget plan. Capped plan is $370. Capped budget option plan is $348. The flex option plan doesn't cost anything because you pay price. The flex budget option costs $314. Do you want to review this? And then
Does that say town office?
it says town office Brookline, town office Brookline.
Yeah.
But there's,
What do each of those plans mean?
I guess it's
It's a service plan.
yeah.
So it's not
that's,
for the gas, it's for the
that's
service.
fuel oil, 680 gallons, at $4.69 a gallon, and propane, 60 gallons at $4.30 a gallon, versus
What was that oil price again?
oil price, $4.69.
Ooh, that's not bad in this state market, I don't think.
$4.69. But I haven't looked at it. I just opened up the envelope. So is there somebody wants to look at this?
Well, not tonight, but is it possible to email that to us, or are you gonna put it somewhere I can come down and look at tomorrow or
I'll
Friday?
put it back in the mailbox.
Put it in the slip.
Okay.
Okay, put it back in the select board mailbox.
Okay.
All right, water problems?
Okay, let me take a breath. Yeah, that's all I have to talk about. 2 weeks ago, we had a situation, I can make it pretty quick, that they were having an ebb and flow with their water coming out of the faucet, going out of nothing, and then would come back. Long story short, I asked Mark to go over and change the filters because I thought that might be causing it. It wasn't the filters. Called Hannah at Line Well. I'm getting really a nice relationship with those people. And she says, probably a check valve. I said, no, really? Okay. I know what a check valve is. But to fast forward the discussion, a check valve, I have one on mine, which I installed when I did my well pump 35 years ago. It's at the pressure tank, and it prevents the water from going back down into the well again, out of your lines. In the case of Susie's, because it was a school commercial, and because the pump handles 25 gallons a minute or more, the pump itself has one. And recently, within the past years, Dan was explaining to me, they actually put another one as a precaution on top of that pump on top of the well, in a well pump down 115 feet, which is the depth of the well. So they have three. They have a check valve at the pressure tank, they have one in the pump, and they have one on top of the pump. Inside 20 minutes, Dan had the damn pump out, had it right out. Opened it up, that's it. Basically what happened, either sediment and or iron had broken a spring in the check valve. And once we went through all of that, then I was with him the whole time that day. It was over 2 hours. And we spent a considerable amount of time. He had a system down where you run the well line until it runs clear. And then he takes the clear water and runs it into the pressure tank and runs the pressure tank until it runs clear and recheck it all.
Okay.
So you have clean water. All
So-
well and good.
so you're
but
all
everything-
fixed?
No. The UV system tripped off the next morning. So what had happened was, basically what happened was there was probably a slurry in the well and we couldn't get it all. So they had to come back again and redo that. They didn't have to go down to the well again, but they had to spend a considerable amount of time flushing the system out. The UV was an issue, so they had to clean out they had to clean out the UV system of the one that was working. And so everything is fine. I came after they left the second time when I came back from the gym, and everything was running. And then I came again the next day to make sure, because I don't even have to go in there. I just still look at the UV system. If it's fouling up, the UV system is going to tell me. And what happens is, once too much cracks going through the lines, the UV system fouls up and shuts down, and you have no water. Good news is there's a bypass. So the first day, when they had no water, I was able to bypass the UV system so they had water. So because they can't be without water for an hour or whatever, after an hour or something. But everything's been taken care of. We had a nice fat bill of $856.82 for the 2 days, but it's fixed. It's fixed. It was due that to do with everything I told you about.
Anything else?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay.
One more thing. You requested for me to notify, Stan should know this, to notify Olivia. I bumped into her yesterday at Susie's to talk to her about kilowatt hour consumption, which I need to know for further stuff. But I also told her about, we have to have documentation that she paid the gas bills up to date because of the relief we gave her for the rents for the 3 months.
Mhm.
And she said she's gonna be in the office today and that she would get to it.
Right.
That's it.
We at least amending agreement that they,
Yep, it was
that
in
they
the amendment
catch up.
part.
Right,
Yep, I read it when you sent it. to me.
okay.
So I told her about it and she's gonna entertain it.
All right.
That's
Any-
it.
So other comments, we mentioned, Stan, you want to explain the tax book briefly, and then we'll vote to accept the purchase policy that we amended at the last meeting?
Yeah, tax book is simply it's a printout of every tax bill for every property owner in the town. And so if a citizen comes in and wants to know, or an attorney for a closing, or a real estate broker wants to verify what the annual tax number is for a property, they just look under the alphabetized name for that property, that property owner, and they have that information that they need. If it's delinquent and it's on the list, then there's possibly interest and penalty involved for that. But the tax book answers significantly almost all of the main questions. It should save Guy a tremendous amount of time. It's currently, it was in the vicinity of the assistant treasurer's desk. I guess the question I'm asking or wanting to address is, should we, I don't know if Guy's been made available. I don't know if it's been made available to Guy in the event he entertains a question like that. Should we ask him if he's interested in having it? It might, again, save him some work and free up his time. Not looking for any diminishing bill regarding this. We're gonna pay what we're gonna pay, but it's simply knowing that we're gonna simply pay it. What might we do to help another coworker in the office speed up the process? It's just a simple thing, I think.
So between the phone system where that messages can go to if Guy can't answer a question, he can pass it to a voicemail box, and he can quickly look up and not spend a couple of hours extra each week on it. That's the point of having that book available. If he so chooses to work with the resident and do it that way, that's fine. If he wants to pass it on, he can send it to the mailbox.
Should we send, or should I send, or someone send an email to both Guy and Melissa?
That would be
Asking
great.
that they, I'll sure be happy.
If you would do that, that would be very good, because I'm gonna have a lot of other things following up
No
on.
problem.
Okay.
I will do that. Was there anything else I needed to ask? The tax book, tax rate, we're gonna calculate. Oh, purchase and sale policy. We're gonna vote on that already, or have we? No, I guess we need to vote
Right.
to approve it.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the purchase policy as amended to include the digital bid procedure as presented at the last select board meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Stan. Any discussion? Do you have a blank copy of it? 'Cause
I have a copy right here.
Okay,
You can
'cause
call it an original if you'd like.
Okay, because I have the one with the red on. All
This
right.
is the one with the black. I changed
Okay.
it. And if it's signed, I can copy it or send it or leave it for Guy
Okay.
for him.
All those in favor of approving the amended purchase policy signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Purchase policy the new purchase policy will currently be signed into effect. 7/6/22. You want to sign it too? Viewing?
My name's Lynn.
Viewing.
Is that blue? That's black.
Most pens are black now.
Hmm.
All right, pass that down to
This
Mr.
Stan?
Yep.
This one?
All right,
Thank you.
that's very
Yours?
good. Thank you. Purchase
Welcome.
policy
Thank
is
you.
done. Any other comments? If not, we'll just go into
Oh, I
communication.
have a question.
Yes, sir.
So just to clarify, when I resolve the issue with the electrical for the install, we're gonna need a second quote no matter. We would like a second estimate. Do we want to do it in RFP form?
We'll follow the purchase policy. If it is less than $7,500, then we can look for competitive bid solicitations, either by the formal bid process in the newspaper or by soliciting bids or quotes from at least 2, preferably 3 vendors.
What would
So-
you prefer?
It's up to you.
I think we should just do an RFP.
Okay, put it in an RFP.
What do you think, Sam?
It depends on what the time constraints are. I think if there's plenty of time, there's no constraint to do it by a certain date or time, then the formal method, adds cost from the paper and it adds time, but that's okay. On the
Okay.
other hand, if you have people that you've worked with in the past and there's more than one, call them, email them if you've got a connection. Well, this is what we're interested in doing. If you'd like to submit a bid.
I don't have any other person.
Okay.
So,
Then
the only
maybe
one
an
was the
RFP is
ones
the way to
I
go.
called and you heard what happened with them. So if we put it out on the 20th or 21st, that weekend, I don't know when we're gonna give Tim Hart the half down or start that. Do we have to wait till the next?
We have to do a contract with him. We have to send him a contract. He's gonna
Okay.
do the documentations.
Okay.
We sign the contract, he signs the
Okay,
contract.
so how do we do that? What
Okay,
do we do?
can we do,
I have a contract, I think, I'm not sure if it's blank, but it's
Okay.
close to blank. I can send you, you can look it over if you have any questions to ask.
I'm good. So we'll
we'll
send it
follow
to
up on
him.
this off out of the meeting.
Okay,
Okay?
okay, I was just trying to get an idea which one we do about the
Yeah, just-
about the election. Okay, go ahead.
Just try to get some details so that we can write an RFP that's accurate.
I will.
Because I wouldn't know what to say. I need a plug
I
and an
will.
extension cord. All right. Next thing, talk about is communication. I just wanted to notice, and I put it in the minutes so that you don't have to read it, is the contract from Rescue Inc. And they gave us a 3-year contract, and you can see the prices there. There's also the Wyndham County Humane Society contract has been signed and it's been returned for the files here at Town Hall.
Okay.
Other email consists of Wyndham Regional requests an updated town official form, which I have the copies of, and I haven't started to look at it, but it's pretty much the name, mailing address, emails, phone numbers of different coordinators, which I can get off the website. Confirmation.
You're gonna do that, you're not gonna assign a draft or volunteer or anything like that, you.
I can do that. I can do that for you. All right, confirmation of bid from Allstate to repair Putney Mountain Road damage awaiting a signed contract. Did you say we
We
received it?
have the signed contract. and
Okay.
that one does not need any initialing of any change of terms. They've signed exactly what we sent to them.
Okay,
So that's ready to go. I'm gonna file it in the drawer there within the next 48 hours.
okay. Contract signed by Basin Brothers to pave Grassy Brook Road. That's also been,
That's the one that I need to print out. Just funny look here on the regular full page per page. And then where he's initialed it, you're gonna have to initial it.
okay,
We've already signed it and sent it to him signed. He made that one correction, which we need to agree to and send back to him.
okay. Putney Mountain Brookline interlocal agreement we discussed and sign off on that. Coda and Coda price program contract also came in the emails. So at this point, I'm going to go to, other things that came in the mail. We have a certificate of no appeal or suit pending that needs the select board signatures. It says we hereby certify that on this date, there are not any appeals pending from action of the listers nor suits pending to recover taxes paid under protest relating to April 1st, 2021 grand list of Brookline, Vermont, given under our hands in Brookline in the county of Wyndham, state of Vermont, and this is the 28th of June. So the listers have signed it, and I'm going to sign it as well.
It's a standard annual thing.
Yeah, okay. I don't remember that. We signed,
Okay. I'm also going to pass around and review it by the select board. It's the internal financial control checklist for municipalities, municipalities, cities, and towns, and it is a list of are the town records accurately. So I will have you take a look at it, and if it's okay, I will sign for that.
So Mr. Cans will have to attest that, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, this is all just question and answer stuff.
Yes.
Okay, you want to look at this?
Is
There's a bunch of 15 million questions on trusting Dr.
Oh, yes, this is the one that was emailed to me
Right.
that I had referenced, not
Right.
knowing that this was what it was.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like it's,
Mark, I'm going to give you this Vermont local roads information that came in the mail.
God, has to just sign that, I believe.
Okay, Doc, that's for you.
Okay. There was one letter email that I think I need to review a little bit more detail. It regards a property that we had some problems with the landowner who's currently incarcerated, and it seems that that he's given permission for somebody to live there. I need to review this a little bit more detail before I discuss this in public. You can certainly look at that. And we also got a request from Brattleboro Development Sevens dated July 1st, requesting an appropriation for next year based upon our census for $1,590. That will go into the folder for our appropriations at another time. Okay. Okay. All right, the tax rate is not available. I will say that I will contact you and we'll do a quick special meeting for signing the tax rate when that comes in. And we also tabled the email accounts. All right, at this time, I'm going to make a motion for Brookline's account payable report warrant number 2251, dated 7/6/22, in the amount of $6,984.14. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bruce. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving account payable warrant 2022-51 for $6,984.14 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All in favor? How do I spell my name? Motion passes, and I'm going to ask you to sign this. I also have, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the accounts payable check warrant number 2301, dated 7/06/22. The previous accounts payable was for the end of the year. This one is for this current year, this week, and this amount is for $3,085.70. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bruce. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor of approving accounts payable warrant 23-01 for the amount of $3,085.79 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes for the warrant. I'll pass that around for you.
I take it that we no longer are going to be getting these via email. We need to be here early enough to review these before we vote on them.
Yeah.
I thought I lost it. I looked all over my emails for this
Well,
particular.
I saw was the payroll one.
The payroll, I think she must have forgotten, or because she had to.
Run some slack right
Yeah,
now.
we,
I
yeah.
haven't seen either of these stuff. I did get
Yeah, I didn't see
emails, but
it.
not these numbers, and.
I looked through when I came in earlier. It looked pretty legit.
Okay.
There's a lot of recycling.
Yeah,
Okay, that goes in here.
I think you're okay, dude.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve payroll check warrant report number 50, 2022-50 in the amount of $1,607.49. May I have a second?
second.
Seconded by Stan. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving payroll warrant number 50 dated June 22nd, 2022 for $1,607.49 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. I'm going to ask you all to sign this.
Sorry, could I have that number again?
The number is $1,607.49.
Thank you.
I have one more to do here. I'd like to make a motion to approve payroll warrant 23-02 dated 7/06/22 in the amount of $4,280.42. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bruce. Any discussion? Hearing none. I will make a note. I believe those are more for like taxes. If you look down that list.
On this one, there's all the normal columns, including the net on number 50.
Right, but it's, yeah, okay, all right, this is for the end of the year. My bad. That was the other one. All right. Like to make a, I'm gonna start this again. I'd like to make a motion to accept payroll warrant 2023-02 dated July 6, 2022 in the amount of $4,280.42. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Stan. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving payroll warrant 2023-02 for $4,280.42 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. I think I spelled my name wrong.
Yeah, I didn't know about that too. I lost on Bruce.
Okay. Very quickly, for setting the agenda, I have Westminster Hazard Mitigation Plan. Check your email.
Okay.
I will try to bring a RFP for winter road maintenance, an RFP for sand bids based upon what we have done in the past. It doesn't have to be in July, but I'm going to try to get that going. We will have a discussion about the May 1st fire on up on Putney Mountain. We will talk about select board emails and any other item that this board so chooses to do.
Hazardous waste, is that something?
Westminster hazardous waste, RFP for winter road maintenance, sand bids, fire discussion, email, and electric bill. Electric RFP.
Electric RFP.
For today, I think earlier we talked about an email that we received from one of the assistant treasurers for $3,562.20 for culverts. The question was, she needed it approved. Are we waiting for documentation before we?
She's
approve it?
waiting for the invoice. Mark said earlier that he has to check the little box.
Okay.
When they did the delivery, he
Yeah.
doesn't see the slip. And if the slip is in the box, we just have to ask them to print out a new slip for Judy.
Okay. I don't know if this helps or not, but for some reason, this dollar amount is similar to a prior bill that we paid for W&W and culverts.
Well,
Going back almost 45, 60 days.
they were ordered, like 10 weeks, actually now 12 weeks out. So I don't know if they were billed before we received them or if they billed us after they delivered, but
It's worth checking that
Sure
because
you
this
would.
number seems to ring a bell.
yeah.
I can look it up on my computer, but obviously, given the changes and so forth that happened over the last month, I don't have all of them.
Right?
Judy would know.
Ah, good number catch. Usually I like to catch numbers, but
Yeah.
I just knew that Mark had
Right.
told me that the culverts were delivered this week. And I said, oh, well, that's the bill for the culverts,
Uh-huh.
but I was gonna double check. Now we'll triple check.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Stan.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, anything else? If not, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this evening's meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by
You weren't
Bruce.
gonna win that.
Any
You weren't
discussion?
gonna win that.
Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning this evening's meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Now, the meeting is adjourned, and it's only 9:11. Not bad. Thank you very much, Peter.
narrowed it down.
Thank you, Fact TV. I hope you do a lot of editing. All right, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you. I'm gonna sign off.
There is nothing going.
Thanks, Peter.
Hey,
There's nothing going to Fact TV.
I don't
He didn't